Hello, welcome back to GotAUkulele. It's review day. It's a brand I've featured before, but not in this guise. That brand is called Cordoba, who are a American, I think, based brand that make value instruments and guitars in China. And this is the one I've looked at before from them, and I've played several, and they all tend to suffer from the same sort of thing. They tend to be a bit overbuilt, a bit heavy, a bit dead sounding, but otherwise quite well put together. The one I looked at before was further up their scale. This is pretty much an entry level for Cordoba, and it goes under a slightly different name. It goes under the name of Protégé by Cordoba. All the labelling says Protégé by Cordoba, and this is the U100CM laminate mahogany concert ukulele. Now, first up, I'm a bit confused about the name, because if you go on the Cordoba website, they don't list this as Protégé at all. They list it as the U1. And the U100CM is the one that you can only get at Amazon, which I don't like. But they also do one called the U1M, which is identical other than for a different sound hole, rosette, and a different set of strings. This is a ukulele. It needn't be this complicated. Why it needs these different variants, I just don't know. Anyway, this is the Protégé by Cordoba version U100CM, same as the U1M, same as the U1. There we are. It's standard and extremely plain laminate mahogany instrument, single piece top, single piece sides, single piece back. I know I say I like plain, but this is kind of plain to the point of dull, boring. No decoration at all apart from that really kind of stark inlaid white sound hole rosette, which I really don't like. The U1M incidentally has an abalone rosette and looks much better. I think that's the one I'd get if I was buying this, but other than that, it's finished as satin. It's pretty well put together, some odd little sort of marks on the joints, but nothing that bad. The back is dead flat. It's just pretty boring. The bridge, tie bar style with a new bone, straight top saddle, small enough on the bridge plate, made of rosewood, tidy enough. Again, not much to say about it. Looking inside, the top laminate is really thick. I don't like that. That's really, really thick. And it's really basic. Unnotched linings, pretty neat though, and the braces, particularly the braces on the underside of the top, look really overly thick. It's just really not doing anything for me. It's not bad. It's just it's not really a head turner, is it? Up to the neck, this is mahogany. The joints are really obvious, one here and one halfway up the neck. And really odd, and I've never found this before with the ukulele, is this heel. It's really sharp. It's really severe. Now, you don't feel that when you're playing it, but you certainly feel it when you pick it up, because it kind of digs into your palm and leaves a little dent. I really don't like that. It's topped with a rosewood fingerboard, which is relatively tidy and in decent condition. It's edged in black, which hides the frets, but the frets are a little sharp, nothing too bad, and a very standard concert 18 frets with 14 to the body. You get pearl position dots at 5, 7, 10 and 12, but they haven't put them on the side. Groan. Beyond the nut, which incidentally very Chinese profile, rounded back, 35.5mm nut, so a little on the narrow side for a concert, but acceptable, I suppose, just nothing startling. And the setup's all right. It's a bit high at the nut, okay at the saddle. I'd probably take it all down a little. Up to the headstock, quite like this for being different. Reminds me of the Canalea headstocks in the top shape. Protégé logo in screen print in silver, which looks a bit cheap. And the tuners also are cheap, unbranded open gears. At least the buttons are relatively small, but they do have that function of all being different tensions, although being geared tuners, they hold. The strings on this one are Quilers, and you get a padded gig bag. What you also get inside here is an owner's manual that tells you how to change the strings and stuff like that, and then a book of ukulele basics, which is basically a chord chart and some songs. Now, if you're going to put a chord chart in and you want to put a C7 on, that's not a C7. That's a C7 major, C major 7. A C7 would have you fret up at the first fret on the A string. If you're going to put a chord chart in with a beginner's ukulele, you've got to get that right. That's absolutely appalling. Okay, it doesn't change the way the ukulele plays, but it shows you how much of a damn Cordoba give about their buyers. That's just wrong. I'm really annoyed by that. Anyway, there we are. Unlike the other Cordobas I've played, it's kind of a bit heavy, but it's not unbalanced. It kind of sits all right in the hand. I don't like that sharp heel at all. I can feel the fret ends. It's just kind of bland, really. Now, it's hard to review these on tone because at this sort of price, because I haven't told you the price yet, the price is 50 quid. That's in there with a flood of Chinese instruments, which are extremely cheap and generic. And they all kind of sound the same. Occasionally you get one that stands out, that kind of sets it apart from the others. But it's hard for me to sort of differentiate in the scoring and when I write these reviews as linked below, because they don't really differ. They all kind of function as ukuleles. They just don't really sort of do it for me on tone. And it's a bit like that with this one. It's a bit of a mixed bag because it's got good volume-ish. The sustain isn't great. It dies off. But what I'm not liking about it is when you strum it, the A string and to an extent the E string really come through in the mix louder than the G and the C string. Now, a change of strings may help with that, but it may also be a construction issue with that big thick top, which is affecting the resonating frequencies of G and C. So when I strum it, I'm just getting all of the A string basically, and that annoys me. It's not a bad tone. It's perfectly passable. It's pretty accurate on the frets, and it would suit a beginner very well, but it just doesn't really rock it for me. Yeah, it dies off really, really quickly, and the A is just sort of dominating everything. You know, on the whole, like I say, these are hard for me to review. It's not bad. It's probably better than most of that flood of Chinese rubbish that's coming into Amazon these days that have some really questionable quality control, because it's put together pretty decently, actually, because Cordoba, I guess, do know what they're doing when it comes to that. It's just about as generic as it comes in terms of the way it looks and the way it sounds. If you're a beginner and you're spending 50 quid, this is a far better deal than some junk out there. I just think I would be spending a bit more and getting something with a bit more character to the tone and the looks. I don't like that complexity of which model name is this. I don't like the sharp heel. I don't like the plainness, no side dots, but it works as a ukulele. The Cordoba, Protégé by Cordoba, U100CM, doesn't really quite get into the recommended stakes on GotAUkulele because I just think there's so much else out there for this money that I'd rather recommend. As you'll see, if you go to all of my reviews, people always ask me on the videos, what would you recommend at this price? Go to my full list of reviews. Anything with scores of 8 out of 10 or above are recommended. Anything with scores of 9 out of 10 or above are essential. This doesn't make it into the 8s, I'm afraid. It's close, but doesn't quite make it there. And for that reason, it can't get a recommendation. That doesn't make it a bad ukulele, but I do wish Cordoba would learn their chord charts. Back next week, more reviews coming very soon. Have a great end to your weekend. It's very hot out there, and if you're in Europe, stay covered up in the heat because it's pretty mental at the moment. I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.